you know, you kind of get a catch in your throat when you think about the movies that these folks have made. What I'd like to start with is with Andrea. Obviously, it begins with the literally historic event that happened when, you know, the kids came to the U.S. What is it that struck you about this particular thing that you should make it? Because it was obviously a great weight to this story. So maybe you can tell us, and then we can kind of move to how everything else happened. But I think that's where it started. So, you know.
So Pedro Pan was my thesis film as I was pursuing a Master of Fine Arts in Film Production in Florida. Everything was shot in Tallahassee, Florida last year. I'm an immigrant. I'm not from Cuba. I'm from Ecuador. I was born and raised and moved to South Florida at the age of 11. And I've always thought that as an immigrant, we all have our very unique story, but we share the same goal. We all came and left our own countries for a better life. And I've always also thought that moving at an early age, at that 11, 12, 13, it's an age where you are finding your own identity, and to do that on a different country with a different language and culture, that makes it even more difficult. But I came with my parents and my sister, and they were the solid foundation. I could stand firm and face those difficulties. But when I learned about Operation Pedro Pan, as I was writing this, as I was researching before I wrote the script, and met Pedro Pans and interviewed them and read their story, seeing how it was a sacrifice of love from their parents to send them here by themselves. And what I found in common from their stories was that today, most of them gave thanks to their parents for the decision of sending them here. And that to me was priceless, and I wanted to share that through film. So that was what motivated me to do the film.
So obviously you have a team, and Dawn is a producer. Did she have to convince you a lot to get into this, or you jumped in recognizing the same, you know, vision that she had of it?
Actually, it was relatively easy to say yes to this. I was one of the fortunate few people that Andrea actually trusted and wanted me to be a part of this project. It was flattering and honored to be a part of this project. But overall, it's because of the concept. When she approached me with the script, it you know, it's always fascinating that, I mean, my first reaction was, I never knew this happened. You know, that's a part of our history. So it's always a challenge, but also an honor to be able to tell a piece of story and share it with the world, something that's relatively unknown to the masses. But on top of that, it's, when I read the script, it just reminded me of a time that, even though I wasn't born, but during that time, but you know, compared to today, it just reminds me of a time that our country was just all about being generous and compassionate, and just, you know, not to sound too naive, but just good. You know, it was nothing about politics. You know, it just was simple. You know, people needed help, and the country accepted these children, and you know, just overall, I hope that all these people, and I think it's still a relevant story that we can use to reflect upon how we are today, because there's things on the news that still go on throughout the world that, you know, that they can learn from this, you know, from the events of Pedro Pan. Long story short, yeah, when I read the script, it was just an easy yes. It was a challenge, but it was an easy yes in the beginning.